Yeah. All right. Hey, welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys are watching the videos, especially for this week, especially Flex 14, the most exciting regular season week of them all.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's some teams who probably just don't care because they like Templars or Billsy Bob. They're like, yeah, whatever. I'm probably not going to win. And Billsy Bob's like, hey, I'm not going to win, and I don't have to worry about going down, type of thing. So, but there are other teams like Templars and Storm and the Age Crew. They're definitely excited for Flex Week 14. Starting up, we got Canadian guy 6 and 7. He's ranked 13th. He's going into the consolation round versus Billsy Bob 3 and 10, and he's ranked 19th. But he does survive. And honestly, to me, Canadian guy, he should be disappointed in his team this year.
Extremely disappointed. Disaster season for Norm. This is like a battle of the worst win percentage owners in LOC history. Canadian guy, 308 win percentage career. Billsy Bob's 321. So I guess if these guys are facing each other, knowing that could be kind of, the rivalry here for this game. But this game's going to be, a joke. It doesn't matter. Canadian guy at this point is playing for Deuce Bombers. Billsy Bob's again, I know, is just very happy that he survived. And I feel bad for Norm. A lot of things didn't go his way this year, like the Trey Sermon pick and all that. But I don't know, man. Maybe he's just got bad luck.
I agree. Looking at his roster, he's got a lot of guys on bye this week. And honestly, I don't know if he wins this week either. I think he loses.
Yeah, I'm going Billsy Bob's.
I agree. I'm going Billsy Bob's as well. Next up, we have Templars 2 and 11, ranked 20th. He's on his last game in LOC. He will be going down to Tier 2 versus you, 6 and 7, ranked 12th. You're on a 2-game losing streak, and you're going to the consolation prize. And honestly, I think you already won the consolation prize because you sold and you got all those damn picks for next year.
I agree. I think I made the right move. When you look at AB, all of a sudden not even on the team. Darren Waller got hurt. It would have been a disaster for me. So obviously it was the right move to make the move. I planned this game hoping that Templars would actually go out on a winning note, but right now NFL.com has me projected to win. One thing I will say about Templars, I've already reached out to him. I said, listen, you got to accept the drop instantaneously basically on the Monday night of finals week. Otherwise, you won't be a part of the offseason. The team he will take over in Tier 2, if it is Mike and cashing my Belichick that moves up, who I think will move up. It's an awesome team, and he can trade players to get picks, etc. Robert, just listen to me. It's going to take work for you in Tier 2, but you could be back up next year if you make the right moves. I'm picking myself to win this one. Sorry, Robert, you're going to end 2 and 12 here in your last season, the LC.
I agree. For Templars, he is going to go 2 and 12. He is going to pick an awesome team, but he's going to have to trade some people because he needs some picks. I know Cash and my Belichick got a lot of the players that I sent to him. But with that said, is you and I both have a shit ton of picks as well in Tier 2, and I think we're just better owners than Robert right now. I think Robert needs to be more active, and he'll definitely be a better owner. I think his inactivity hurts him in the LOC, and until he fixes that, he won't be back up in Tier 1.
Agree 100%.
Next up, we have True North. He's 5 and 8. He's ranked 16th, and he is on the verge of not making the consolation. Playing Deuce Bombers 5 and 8 as well, and he is not going to make the consolation. So who cares?
Yeah, well, this is a kind of a chance to get a top 8 pick. You win this game, you get a top 8 pick, right? So it's a critical game. Deuce Bombers, though, 8 straight losses. I don't know if we've seen a losing streak like that in a while. It's going to be a good game to watch. I think it's a rematch too. Deuce almost pulled the one off this past week. I think it's going to be 2 straight for True North though. And Chris is going to have a chance at a great pick. And I know has a few picks trading CMAC to you and etc.
Yeah. I think True North's a little mad that I might not make the consolation playoffs because if I did, I would definitely have a good shot for first overall. But these two teams did play last week. True North won, and I see Deuce Bombers going on a 9-game losing streak here. Next up, we have the 12th man, 5 and 8. He's also online for the consolation versus Optimus Prime, 5 and 8 as well. also in line for the consolation.
Yeah, again, two bum teams. And one that I think both of these teams are just going to be happy that their season continues and they actually get to make the consolation playoffs. Fun fact here. So obviously Ultimus Prime career-wise has been playing teams for the first time because this is the first time he's been in the LOC. Brian will be the first owner that he actually plays twice. And I believe earlier this year, and let me just check it out, Ultimus Prime, I believe, yes, he did beat Brian earlier this year. I think it's going to be close. You know what? I'm going to go back with what history said before. I'm going to pick Ultimus Prime to find a way here against the 12th man with Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I mean, the issue for Optimus Prime, though, is if you look at his bench, half of his, more than half, probably like 80% of it's on a bye. So he's kind of, his projection, he's projected to lose by 35 right now. And I think Brian's actually going to pull out the W. I still think he's going to miss the playoffs. That's what I'm going with there. Next up, we got Green Lightning 6 and 7. He's going to make into the consolation versus the 6, 8 and 5. I mean, he's 8 and 5. Honestly, if he loses this one, there's other teams that are also 8 and 5 battling, or 7 and 6. And it's possible, based on, I don't know the actual history between Fighting Geese, Bare Naked Ladies, myself, versus the 6. If he loses this one, he might fall. Yeah, I mean, it's always possible he can fall out of the playoffs.
Yeah, maybe, but I just don't think it's going to happen. When I set this one up, obviously the 6 he looks like he's in to me. It's just what seed, and really, I tried to make this a competitive game because obviously yourself and Sabotage Spartans, even though you're playing for the divisions, obviously you don't want to see the 6 getting an easy win. And Green Lightning at the time, he was doing really well. Recent news, though, it looks like Keenan Allen will be out for him. I think there's another injury that I saw for Lucas. He was telling me about it. So I see Milan winning this one, and I think he's locked in at the 5th seed and is going to be a challenging first round opponent for whoever finishes 4th.
Yeah, Mark Ingram has COVID, so he's on the COVID protocol for him right now. And Corey Davis is on IR. Keenan Allen has COVID. So he definitely lost a couple people, in the last couple of days. And I honestly see the 6 winning this one, unless a miracle happens, but anything's possible. I mean, Herbert is playing the Giants, but I'm going to go with the 6 for the win here. Next up, we have Too Good for a Name. He's 7 and 6, playing BC Lions, who's 6 and 7. BC Lions is in a spoiler role. I mean, with all those picks and you're in a spoiler role for BC Lions, I might cry just a little.
You're absolutely right. Nothing short of a disaster again for Stan and BC Lions. This guy just can't get it right. How many picks does a guy need in the first 10 to be successful? Obviously, Stan needs more than 24, and I'm pretty sure that's what he had this year. For Too Good for a Name, he still controls his destiny. Win and you're in here. And, to be in that place after losing 3 in a row here down the stretch, which I have to say the commission did predict 3 weeks ago. It's good to have that opportunity, but even though BC Lions, I think, has had some roster challenges, I don't think it's going to matter. Too Good for a Name's roster looks like a wasteland now to me. BC Lions wins this one. Too Good is going to be in the consolation.
Exactly. I agree with everything you just said. And kind of looking at his team now, he has Bryant, who's a tight end for Cleveland, out. I'm looking at his bench. Woods is IR. Obviously, Thompson is on the PUP. Chris Carson's on the IR. Godwin's on the IR. He just doesn't have the players to, roster a good team and make any a push here to make the playoffs. And I think he's not going to make it. And that's that.
In Shitty's defense, though, he was looking like one of the best teams earlier in the year.
I agree, 100%. Next up, we have Sabotage Spartans, 8 and 5, ranked 7th, playing international title game versus Suihino, who is also 8 and 5.
I'll take it from here. You know what? It's like I said 2 years ago. Watch out for these guys, Suihino and Sabotage Spartans. And you can see they have been, it seems, the class of the international since they've been here. And it's interesting because they don't make many moves. Like they'll make 1 or 2, right? but yet they win every year since they've been here. So Eugenio is the best owner win percentage wise, and that's 3 full seasons for him now. I think that's a good sample size.
Yeah, I mean that's one way to look at it. I mean, to me, what I like to do is kind of look at, you know, the breakdown of how your team would have actually done if you played everybody in the league. And Suihino is actually ranked 7th in that. He's right up above me. He has 2 more wins than I do, and he is right below Green Lightning, who has 4 more wins than he would, versus Sabotage Spartans, who is ranked 14th, and that's like I think it's like a 30 win difference between the 2 teams. And with that said, looking at the 2 teams, their points for, I think it's like 100-point difference. Honestly, I think this is probably going to be the closer of the 2 title games. And looking at the 2, I think Suihino is going to win. He's going to win the title here. I mean, as you said, he is a great owner. Just from the 2 teams, though, I just kind of wish they would score more points for. I mean, they play in international division. Besides, I believe Fighting Geese is in that division. Everybody else in that division, it's kind of reminds me of the old East division back in the day, where you had me, Templars, US1, where it just kind of was a little bit lackluster in firepower in the division. And I just kind of wish the division was a little bit stronger, but these 2 guys are definitely great owners, and I think they could be better next year as well.
Yeah, I got Swags winning this one easily, actually. I think both of the title games are going to be a bust this weekend. I think easy title win for Suihino, and we'll get into the American here shortly.
Yep, and for Spartans, he, like I, have everybody on a damn bye.
Well, Spartans too, if he loses this one and 2 good wins, Spartans could be out of the playoffs.
That's always a possibility as well. Speaking about the American title game, you got Fallen Misfits 8-5, ranked 6 on a 6-game winning streak to make the playoffs. It was 2-5 versus the Architect 9-4. He is ranked number 2. I think Brandon is a little saddened that he's not playing for first place. I'm a little sad that I am playing Brandon this week. Not gonna lie, but I mean, I always want the opportunity to win the title. But as you kind of said, my entire team, my entire bench is on a bye. I wish I could start some IDPs, because then maybe I'll score some points. But Brandon, if you really don't win this week, you are the cursed, and I will gladly call you the cursed, because right now on NFL.com you have almost a 90-point win percent, 90 more points, score potential, 90 more points than I do right now.
Yeah, this one's going to be a joke, unfortunately, but like you said, great job just to get there to play for the title. And, that's all you want, in my opinion, to have a winning season. Why wouldn't you? Brandon, I think, is also going into the playoffs the healthiest of the biggest strong contenders that I've been looking at. And, Krista's one, Age Crew looks good. Those teams look like very strong contenders, but they're going in with injuries. Brandon's going in healthy, and I think that could give him an advantage heading into the playoffs. He's going to win the American title here, I believe, and don't quote me on it, but I believe it would be his 2nd career title division wise. Let me just double check that. And yes, that's true. So that'll be a 2nd division title if he can win this one.
Brandon literally just messaged me. He says, "Good luck this week, buddy. If I somehow lose, you truly deserve the division." Yeah, I agree. Like, you're 100% correct. His team is definitely looks stacked. And like, I was kind of looking at him, like, oh, his team's not that good. But then I kind of look at him, like, oh, okay, he does have 2 good tight ends. He does have 3 good wide receivers. His flex is good as well. Maybe Peterson is the only issue with his flex in Seattle, but I think he's going to step into that Chris Carson role. Yeah, I mean, you're right. His team looks the healthiest going into it. And honestly, I wouldn't want 7th place, because then it means you have to play Brandon week 1 of the playoffs, and I wouldn't want to do that.
Totally.
Next up, you have the H Crew 9-4. This is a first place game versus Storm, who's 10-3, also first place game. I think Storm's going to win this one. I know who I want to play in the playoffs. I hope I finish 6th, because I think The Age Crew will finish third, and I know I want to play the Age Crew week 1 of the playoffs.
Yeah, the Age Crew's season kind of flipped upside down when Adam Thielen and Logan Thomas went down probably for the year for him. And then you got Swift hurt too. So it's been a disaster for him. And I think you're right. You want to capitalize on playing those teams that are not healthy. And right now, I mean, other than J.K. Dobbins, which was at the beginning of the year, and losing King Henry, obviously, for Storm is huge. Imagine if she had those two running backs. I think she would probably win the league, to be honest. But I'm because of the injuries to Adrian recently, I'm going with Kristen Storm to win the first place money and easily be the regular season champion for the LOC in 2021.
No, I agree with you there. She's definitely get first place money. We didn't point out that unless Brandon scores no points and Storm scores I think 300 points, Brandon and the Architect will be getting points for money.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He already has that in the bag.
100%. Next up, we have Fighting Geese 7-6 versus Bare Naked Ladies 7-6 as well, and it's going to be a good one. I think if I lose, when I lose and Fighting Geese wins, she actually might leapfrog me in positioning here. So I know who I'm rooting for to win. Who is actually going to win? I'll kind of pass that over to you.
Well, the funny thing is Joshua put it out there that he wants to lose. As soon as he does that, Mike Williams gets COVID on his team, one of his best players. So I guess when you put it out there, sometimes it comes true, and it might come true for Joshua here. And I think for Susie, I mean, yeah, consolation would be great, first overall pick and all that. But the thing is, if you look at this year's draft, there's not many great offensive players. I think it's a bad year to have first overall, in my personal opinion. And the way I'm looking at this for Susie, I mean, here's a team that has 5 career playoff appearances tied for first with me. I'm not making the playoffs this year. She could be full first place ownership, 6 playoffs appearances in the LOC and be first in that in the whole LOC history. And I think she is going to win.
I agree with you that there's not many good players coming for fantasy football next year. I mean, if you're looking, obviously, let's be honest, the first overall pick, if it's not a running back, you should probably be slapped. And, looking at Isaiah Spiller, at Brees Hall, the dude from Oregon, I can't remember his name as well. There's potential running backs, but unless Spiller goes to a good team, like he might go to the Jets. Let's be honest, the Jets might draft Spiller. And anybody who goes to the Jets, you're probably not really going to want to take first overall. And you're right. Besides that, that's why I was willing to give up my first pit rounder for C-Mac, even though C-Mac is injured. I'm hoping next season he comes back strong, gets healthy, etc. Because obviously, besides the last 2 years, he's been healthy. He's been the number 1 RB in the league in fantasy football in general, I guess you could say. With that, as you said, Williams did go down with COVID. I don't actually know how Williams has been doing the last couple of weeks. Last week he got 18. Week before that he got 7. And just kind of looking at the 2 teams, Trevor Lawrence is playing the Titans, Cousins playing Pittsburgh, Coleman, Penny, Jeff Wilson versus Snell, Montgomery, and Freeman. And the funny thing is, looking at the 2 teams, just doing quick comparisons, it might come down to Jeff Wilson. How many points Jeff Wilson scores if Fighting Geese wins or loses here. And if it comes down to what Jeff Wilson scores, I will still tell your brother, Brian, I know he's on the meeting right now, I told you so. It was a bad trade. You shouldn't have done it. But, yeah, I think it's going to be close. I'm still going to go Fighting Geese, and I'm going to go with it's going to be because of Jeff Wilson.
I think the trade's been shit for Suze, and I said that from the beginning, to give up even though it's 1 round difference, it's still a round 7 talent, and Jeff Wilson's done jack and squat since she's had him. But I hope you're right for Susie's sake, because I'd love to see her make the playoffs 6 times in, I guess it's the 8-year history of the LOC. That means she's making the playoffs 75% of the time. That's a track record of success.
Exactly. And it's gonna be fun. Those couple games that we talked about are gonna be fun to watch, and I'm excited to see where I place. And hopefully I do make the playoffs. I don't foresee me falling out, but I definitely don't want 7 or 8 seeding. I would love to have 6. I'm not saying I would beat the H crew, but it gives me a better option than the other 2.
Well, and if you win the American title by some miracle, I think, and I know I would say I wouldn't vote you to be this year's Hugh Jackson Award winner, because that would be a miracle in itself.
Exactly. Well, it's gonna be fun watching Flex Week 14, and we'll go from there.